Alrighty. Hi guys, how are we doing tonight? Okay, I am so sorry guys. So sorry for the delay. I am totally having technical issues on my end. So thank you for your patience and for hanging in there. And again, I'm sorry that I'm late. Technology is not really liking me very well today. So, alrighty. So glad to be here tonight. I'm going to zip up to the top. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Mina. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Estella. Hi, Night Owl. Barbara, yes, the pretty kitty is looking lots of fun. Lots of fun with the kitty here tonight. Let's see. Hello, Brittany. Welcome. Thanks for being here tonight. Hi, Rhonda. Steve, hi. We are doing well, thank you. And I hope you are also. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So, hi, Terry. We have been working on this project for 2 sessions now. Just trying to jump back and forth between the 2 burners with the Versa-Tool and then the Razertip. So we're kind of showing the difference between a solid point burner and a wire tip burner. And it's been really fun to see the differences and the similarities with both. So Vivian, you're about to throw your computer in the lake on occasion. I'm right there with you. It can certainly be a challenge. Okay, so on the right hand side here, we've been working with the Versa-Tool and the shading point, and on this left hand side is the Razertip. So let's see, last week we did a little bit more fur in here with the kitty, and then we started to get into the flowers, and the flowers were a lot of fun as well. We kind of experimented with different points as far as which ones to use for the Razertip, and we used that Mr. Chunky. So we used Mr. Chunky here, the spoon shader, and that we did quite a bit of the shading on the flower with this one. It was a little bit difficult to get in the nooks and crannies, and so we went and switched back over to this point here that I kind of modified. It was just a small round shader that I sanded down and made a bevel on. Okay, so just kind of thinking about where I want to start here. I think I might come down and let's woodburn this flower down here with the Versa-Tool. I generally use that burner for most of my work, so I think it'll be a good kind of warm-up exercise before we get started on the Razertip. And so we'll burn this flower, and then we'll switch to the Razertip. We'll burn this one, and then we'll come back down here to the bottom and start putting in some more of the fur. If you look here underneath, all this fur is kind of out of focus on his chest or her chest, and we're going to make that really soft and kind of blend it out. Alrighty, so let's get ahead and get started on flower number 1. Oh, okay. And I don't know if I'll burn over into this area or not. I don't have all of the picture there, so I might not. I hope everybody has had a fantastic week. And we are ready to get burning. All right. So my really old cat, she likes to sleep on my desk, and then I find that I get cat hair everywhere. but she's a sweetie. She is, oh goodness, I think 17 now, and pretty grumpy, but she's hanging in there. All right, I think I'm going to start by making the camera behave so it doesn't get washed out on you. Barbara, it's been very hot in the east, but cooler weather is coming. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we've been getting pretty toasty here in Colorado as well. Although the last couple nights it's gotten down into the 50s, which is really, really nice. I am definitely in the mood for cooler weather. So even though the temperature right now on the burner is full heat, full power, I am just moving the burner a little bit more quickly so it doesn't make really dark lines. But if you find that you have a hard time controlling the burner at full temp, definitely go ahead and turn that dial down and make it to where it's easier to burn. Let's see, Mina, you had a busy one at work. Now it's your time to relax and enjoy. That's awesome. Barbara, your little pumpkin kitty will be 15 in January. Wow. And your other kitty is 3. Wow, wow. Glad to hear that it's cooling off in certain parts of the country. That's great. And the world. So just doing some light outline work in here. I don't want anything really dark. Just a nice light definition between the layers of the petals. And then we'll add in a little shading here. So I saw this one whisker on the piece of wood and I wanted to wipe it away. I thought it was a cat hair. I guess that's kind of a good thing if we're going for more of a realistic picture. Also, a little bit of exciting news. On Facebook, there is, they have different groups of similar interested groups. So there's a pyrography group there called Woodburning for Fun. And I have been working with the admins and became the official sponsor of that group, that Facebook group, for the next 3 months. So if you're on Facebook and you're not a member of Woodburning for Fun, definitely take a look at that. I would love, some feedback and everything there in the posts. Mina's got that link right there. Thank you, Mina. Just to kind of get some more exposure for Woodburning University and help people learn more about, what we do and what we offer, and just get the word out to help us grow. And if you are in the group, make sure that you watch out for the posts. Anything that you comment on the posts that I put out in these next 90 days is a huge help, just to bump it up to the top of the feed, and we get a little bit more reach. We can reach more people. So thank you, Vivian. Yeah. And it just started today, and we'll see how this goes. All right. So now that I have the nice light outlining done, let's work a little bit on some of the shading in between these layers. Shading is just a simple gradient is all it is. We're going to try to match the kind of value of the line work that we just put in there. And if you want more of a realistic look, then you don't have to put on these lines. I find that it helps to give it a little bit of a separation though between the petals. Awesome. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate that. And thanks, Barbara. All right, so now we're going to pull some of the shading across this petal. We're darker where the petal kind of folds under towards the cat. And we're just going to slowly burn that and bring that gradient across the flower. And I think I want to be just a little bit darker right here so that we're not competing with that petal either. Barbara, your kitty's watching the live stream. Aw, that is super sweet. My kitties are out and about, having fun. This is one of their favorite times to be outside. It's nice and cool, and we have just a ton of hummingbirds zooming around for their viewing enjoyment. Hi June, welcome. Glad that you can be here tonight. We are just starting to wood burn this little flower using a solid point burner, the Walnut Hollow Creative Versa-Tool. This is generally the tool that I prefer, that I use for most of my art. But tonight we're kind of mixing things up and burning half the image with the Versa-Tool and then half of the image with the Razertip. So some of the pros and cons between the two burners. The solid point burner that I'm using right now is one of the, I guess the pros is that I love that it has a more steady, consistent heat. It doesn't kind of get really hot and then really cold and really hot and really cold, because every time you put a wire tip burner on the wood, it has a lot of heat in it and it instantly releases that heat into the wood and you get a nice dark value, but sometimes that's a little bit unpredictable. So these ones I think have a much more consistent heat. They are they have a temperature adjust dial on them. They're also very inexpensive to get into. Unfortunately, the company that makes these burners is currently not in business, so I don't know if they're going to be able to, I don't know, revamp the company or whatever. That'd be lovely, but my favorite burner is no longer being made by its company. But you still can get these out there. You can find them on Amazon. I bought several just in case somebody couldn't find them. So I have a little bit of inventory of these burners as well. So those are some of the good things. Let's see. It does take a while to heat up. It takes about 5 minutes to get to optimal temperature. It also doesn't, you don't change temperature with this very quickly. And if you want to change out the points, you want to make sure to turn the burner completely off, let it cool down a good 10 minutes, and then you can switch out the points. Always switch them out with like needle nose pliers, little pointy pliers. You don't ever want to grab the point to change those out. Just in case you forgot to turn it off, that would be very painful. So now, even though that this burner has an adjustable dial where you can adjust the temperature, for quick changes I just blow on the point and it cools it down a little bit and it gives me a little bit more control over certain areas. Let's see. June, you are new at woodburning. Well, you are definitely in the right place. This is a great opportunity to kind of see the different tools in play. Again, this burner is quite inexpensive to get into. It's only, I want to say, less than $40. And I have had wonderful luck with them. I've not had them break or anything. I have 3 sitting on my desk that I rotate through and use for projects. Just because I don't like switching out points, it takes a little bit of time to switch out the points. So yeah, and then here in a minute we'll talk about the Razertip. It has pens that come with it like this. Well, actually it doesn't come with any pens. You have to buy these pens on your own. One of the cons with that is each one of these pens is like $25-ish. And then the main burner unit itself is kind of a big thing like this. And you can see that it has, I'll just hold it up. It's got two options, so you can run two burners kind of back and forth. I didn't know really what I was getting into when I first started. I don't think that you need the dual burner. I think it would be just fine to run with the one burner, and then you just plug and play the pens into the little cord. You just push them in. They're very, very handy. One of the cons with this is this unit was about $300 10 years ago. So the wire tip burners are generally a little bit more expensive to get into. A lot of professionals love them. A lot of professionals love the Versa-Tool as well. So just a simple soldering iron type of point like this, it works fine too. And I prefer the cheaper, less expensive burner for my work. Let's see, the Versa-Tool does not, this one does not get near as hot as the other one. The other one gets much hotter, which is helpful if you're going to burn on like hardwoods or bone. Then you would want something that has a higher temperature for sure. And I am getting distracted. Barbara, you got a couple more Versa-Tools also. Night Owl, you say you can't see very much difference between the two tips. Gotcha. See, Barbara says, I wanted to mention that the firemen were very interested in wood burning and thought the tips were great. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I love, you're going to have to send me the picture of Bernie the bear in his cute little outfit at the fire station. Sometimes I get distracted here and then I forget where I'm at. But as we go through the live stream here, if you have any questions about what we're doing or wood burning in general, just go ahead and throw those out there and I'll be happy to talk about that as we go. And if I need to zoom in, guys, please let me know. And anytime that you're working with any tool, you want to make sure that you do kind of a gentle transition. You don't want to set the point on the wood and then move and lift, because you'll get those stop spots like we've talked about in the past. So if you set it down like a pencil, move it and lift it, you're going to get those stop spots. So think about being an airplane. You're going to set it down while in motion, and then you're going to lift while in motion. So every time you put the point or the pen on the wood, that's the motion that we're after. Thanks, Barbara. That would be great. That would be neat if the firefighters joined the bear den. So I want my shading to be just underneath each of these petals. Think of shading in this regard as overlapping. We have one petal that sits on top of the other. And where they meet, they're generally a little bit darker. Petals of a flower are very similar to bird feathers, with the overlapping nature, and you just want to shade where one overlaps the other one. Thank you, Rhonda. We're so glad to have everybody here. Thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate it whenever anybody shares my art with somebody else. It's very humbling, and I'm very honored that you take the time to share. So thank you. A lot of people don't know what wood burning is all about, and so it's neat to get the word out there for all of us. we're just going to keep moving forward here. I want to pull the shading kind of from the inside of the flower outwards. I think I might have to turn the lid on this one just a little bit. Oh, kind of stuck here. And let's refocus. That's a little better. Can't see very well, but we're just going to burn by braille here. Thank you, Vivian. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. People don't really know that realistic wood burnings is even a thing. Okay, so we just want our petals to be darker towards the center of the flower, and then they're going to kind of fan out. And we have these little bumpy guys in here. Just put in some texture. Now, like we did last week, we can start with just one layer of the flowers, and then we can go back and, oh, I think I was going to do that. I didn't finish this flower last week, so I will touch that up as well here in a minute. The first time that you go and you burn something, and you try to get each little element in place, then you want to go back over and kind of take a step back and look at how all those elements work together. So for this instance, I think that this shadowy portion of the flower needs a couple more layers. We're not quite dark enough in here. So I'm going to go back and we'll just add another layer of shading, kind of darken up some of our darks, add more midtones, and kind of push the values in here, and it should make this flower much more three-dimensional. And I wanted to thank Mina for hosting the Social Sunday post on the Bear Den. That's our artist community, kind of behind the scenes. And then I want to thank Cynthia for hosting the Wednesday Work in Progress post as well. That is great, and thanks for getting those out, everybody. If you don't know what the Bear Den is, that is our lovely artist community over on Mighty Networks. It's kind of like Patreon, only much, much better. So all of our past live streams are posted over there. We are on live stream number 143, I think. And then we also have at least 14 completely beginner-based live streams as well. So 114 plus 143, that's like a lot of live streams. If you're looking for more information, that's a great place to find them. And it looks like Mina has the link there to our Bear Den community as well. Thank you, Mina. Okay, I want just a little bit darker areas in here towards the center of the flower. Vivian. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so there's that little flower for right now, and then I know that I was going to add a few more layers in here, and so we can darken this up just a little bit. That's one of the really fun things about wood burning, or the layering, I think. You just kind of get stuff in place, and then you can go back and with just a little bit of effort tweak areas, darken things up, and really make things come alive. and pop and kind of jump off of the wood. And I love that three-dimensional aspect of wood burning. So darkening things up there in the center. And you just want to find a point that's nice and smooth for this shading. I really love the shading tip for this. Of course, I use the shading point for most of what I do. Awesome. Thank you, Barbara. And Barbara, if, I don't know, are you in that group? I think you said you were going to take a look at it. So if anybody wants to post something in that Facebook group called Woodburning for Fun, you can. So I am, you know, most people are not allowed to self-promote, but I'm the sponsor, so I get to self-promote. So anything that you guys want to post in there as well, you know, maybe a project that you did with one of our patterns and you just want to share that with people, that would be fantastic. We're just really trying to get the word out to grow our community here with Woodburning University over the next 90 days. So that's always really helpful. Because most people don't know that we have patterns. We've got lots of patterns. We have almost 500 wood burning patterns now on Woodburning University of all different skill levels, which is pretty cool, with more on the way. Mina, we have 158 live streams so far. Wow. Yep. And you're saying for even more learning, head over to the video resources. That's right. Yeah, we have a lot of other videos there as well. Barbara says, I took a look but will join. Can I put the wood burning tips on there? Yes, absolutely. I think that would be really fun to share, is that picture of Bernie with the tips on there. Awesome. Yeah, we are definitely approaching our 200th live stream. Alrighty, so I want a little bit more definition between the leaf and this flower. So I'm going to put kind of a darker line in there, and then I'm going to blend it in so it looks more natural. Because outlines definitely have a place with wood burning. I wouldn't want to outline everything with this picture with a really dark, heavy outline, just because that's not really the style that I'm after. We've done that lots of times with beginner projects, and that is fun. It's fun to do the line work and kind of experiment with that, and then we add a touch of shading here and there. But for this one, I want it to look a little softer, maybe a little bit more realistic. So we're going to minimize our outlines and try to create definition with shading and light instead of those heavy outlines. Okay, so let's take a look at this really quick and see where we're at. Okay, so we started getting these flowers in there. I think it needs just a little bit more soft shading. Just some lighter values in here. To soften it up. That helped. I think that looks a little bit more natural now. Okay. And let's see. Let's jump on over to this flower. And I need to kind of see. I think I can. I might have to turn the wood again just to get in the right spot. Okay, I think I'm going to start as we are, and then that's not going to work very well. Stand by. And we'll get this in place here. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to the Razertip. This one heats up very quickly. I often have a blank piece of wood or just the backside of whatever project I have here to kind of experiment with the temperature and make sure that I have the temperature dialed in correctly before I zot my wood burning. This guy definitely takes a little bit more experimenting with temperature, I think. Okay, so we just take this and we plug it in. We turn the burner on, and then there's a temperature dial. And so right now we're sitting at a level 4. Okay. Thank you, Mina, for the reminder to like and subscribe to the video. That is always helpful. Alrighty, so let's see where we're at with a level 4. That's a little bit too light. So we're going to turn it up to a level 5. And still a little bit light. Let's go 5.5. Let's see how we're doing there. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Light is not being good. Okay. So again, I want just a nice little definition between our petals here. And I am certainly not as comfortable with this point as the other one, but we'll just do the best we can. How's the overall view, guys? Do I need to zoom in, or is it okay? So once again, just putting in a touch of line work here to separate the values of the petals. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to the live stream. Okay. I don't know if I want to keep working with this point right now. I might bring this flower all the way over to the outer edge just because I don't have much flower here. Whenever you get into this edge, it gets super dark. Hi, Kendale. Welcome again. So Kendale, if you just go to woodburninguniversity.com, you can check out all the patterns there. They're listed by skill level. So level 1 is beginner, level 2 is intermediate, advanced, and then premium. So you can just go ahead and check out the patterns there. And then if you want to join our paid online community, you actually can get some free patterns in there. The patterns come with the project. So like this is, Mina, I think this is a level 4. This is a premium project. So that's the diamond tier. If you join for, I think it's a $25 a month, you get access to everything there. You get the premium projects like this. You get the past live streams, which there's hundreds of them, 158 patterns, I think Mina said, or not patterns, live streams, 158 live streams. And then you get the pattern for free. If you join it, the $10 tier, that's the beginner level, then you get all the beginner patterns of the projects that we've done for free. You don't get all of them for free that are on Woodburning University, but if we've done a live stream and it has a pattern with it, then you get those patterns for free. I hope that makes sense. If not, Mina can maybe explain a little better. But over on woodburninguniversity.com, there is, close to 500 different patterns for all different skill levels. Yeah, Mina, absolutely. So if you join our paid community, it's like Patreon, but better. And you do the monthly thing where you pay something monthly, then you get lots of stuff there. You actually get discounts on the patterns over on Woodburning University as well. So lots of cool things over there and a great community as well. But yeah, you can just go and browse the patterns on Woodburning University and see what's there. Okay, so we kind of have some of our outlines. Oh, I forgot these over here. So yeah, Woodburning University itself, you can just go and take a look at the patterns that are there and just buy them kind of a la carte, whatever you're looking for. The cool thing about the patterns with Woodburning University is that they're designed specifically for woodburning artists. You get an image like this, and then you also get the line work to make it more simplified. To transfer on. And they're all in sepia format like this, which matches our wood burning values very well. Some of these also have a color option, so if you want to add color, you can do that as well. So pretty cool. It's a big resource over there at Woodburning University. All right, so next we're going to start burning some of the darker areas. I usually like to start with the darks first and then work my way towards the lights. But I think a level 5.5 is not enough, so we're going to go to level 6. See, Mina's got links in there. Thank you so much, Mina, for putting those links in there. And you're welcome, Kendale. Okay, so we're now on a level 6 with the Razertip and the spoon shader. Spoon shader is nice to get some of the softer shading in place. You can still get stop spots with this point, so try to keep that point in motion like an airplane landing and taking off. Thanks, Night Owl. Yeah, the eyes are looking pretty good so far. I really like that extra level of dimension that we created by using a little bit of white colored pencil in there too. Thanks, Mina. Mina just rocks. She just keeps track of everything, and it's very much appreciated. Okay, so to create smoother shading, we want more layers. So go back over and add a few more layers. And you can kind of blow on this point as well to cool it down, just to give it a little bit more control. Night Owl is waiting for the kitty to blink. Oh, that's cool. And I don't know if you've seen some of the fun little videos that I've put on social media of one of my wood burnings, and then it does come to life. It moves and all that from, it's a little AI thing that you put a picture in and then you can make it move. And so I've made a couple of my wood burnings come to life like that. So if you haven't seen those, they're pretty fun. Over on, well, here on YouTube, they're just shorts. So if you're bored and looking for something to do, you can check those out. Boy, this is sure dark over here, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I can definitely make it blink. Another great thing about the patterns from Woodburning University is you are allowed to sell your finished product of your artwork if you want. So many places, like books and stuff, they offer patterns, but if you read in the book, they're all copyrighted and you can't sell your art after you're done. And I always thought that that was a bummer, that you go through all this work, and if you wanted to sell your project, you can't, because the people that made the book, they won't let you. And I wanted my resources to be more flexible for everybody. So lots of good benefits with the patterns. Alrighty, we're just pulling these gradients from one side to the other here. Probably going to need to come back through and touch up a little bit here and there with a smaller point, but we'll just do the best we can for right now. Night Owl says you need to practice flowers, not your strong suit. Flowers are fun, I think. You've got your hard edges, and then you just have gradients. So lots of blending and softening, and the overlapping is really fun. Okay, I'm going to jump up to a level 7 because we need to put in some more of the cat ear in here. Make it nice and dark. And that's another great thing that is good about the Razertip. It does get quite dark. You can burn those darks much more easily than the Versa-Tool. You still can burn the darks with the Versa-Tool, but it just takes a little bit longer. It's easy to overburn the wood with the Razertip, though, I will say. You can actually scorch that top layer of wood, and it turns to charcoal or carbon, and it lifts off in little pieces. So you don't want to get too aggressive with your temperature settings. Find something that gets you a nice dark value but doesn't char the wood, because it'll ruin the surface of the wood and it'll fall off. And it makes for a pretty uneven burn. Okay. So this is a great example of these hard edges like I was talking about before. Anywhere we have a strong contrast between the dark and the light, you have that nice crisp edge there, those are what I call hard edges. And then like for soft edges, you can see like right here around the nose, those edges in there are much softer and more blended. So a combination of the soft edges and the harder edges is great for creating some nice realism. Okay, I think I need to turn this back down. We're going to go to level 6 and start working on pulling some of the shading and gradients up into these flowers here. You can kind of space out your strokes a little to create the illusion of those little lines on the flowers. Night Owl calls them crisp edges. That works too. And I think I might have to turn the wood if I keep going with that one. And the faster you move the burner, even at a level 6, you can see that we stay really nice and light. But once we slow down and move the burner slower, it gets just much darker. Let's see, Barbara is asking, were you going to indicate those hairs peeking out on the kitty's ears? Like right up in here? You certainly can. I was going to not, just in the interest of time, but if you do that, you want to start burning around the hairs. So we're going to darken up areas in between here. I'm not sure how well you can see that. So we burn around the hairs, or the gaps in between the hairs, however you want to think about that negative space in there. And then you could possibly add in, kind of scratch in some of the details as well. Okay. So I'm going to turn this down to a level 5 for up here because this whole thing is really dark. Anyway, that bark just gets super toasty very quickly. It's a good thing this part of the flower is in shadow anyway, because I'm having a hard time controlling how dark the burn is over here on the bark. Yes, Barbara, you could certainly scratch the hairs in with an awl. I think I do have one here. Stay. I just turned that thing off just in case. That Razertip gets so hot. Well, they both get hot. Don't walk away from an unattended burner. So yeah, here's an awl, and you can go back in and kind of scratch in some of the highlights if you find that you burned too much. Or if you didn't want to burn around each little hair, which can be a little bit of a challenge, you can go back in with a pointy tool and put them back in. This is definitely the easiest, quickest way, I think, to do this. I have burned around each and every little hair in the past, and it can be very time-consuming and tedious. Kind of like that. So don't forget your pointy thing for those nice highlights. Okay, so we're still on level 5 and burning some of the darker areas on this flower here. Night Owl says, don't try to drag out the pretty kitty picture. You're still wanting to do the pretty peacock. Yes, that's right. That is our next project, is we are going to be wood burning a detailed steampunk peacock. And I think that is going to be a hoot. Definitely lots of fun. No, I'm certainly not trying to drag this one out. We have an hour. You would think 2 hours would be plenty of time to do this, but it just takes time. All right, so I think I need to turn the wood a little bit to get in these areas. But, oh, I love the flowers. Those are really fantastic. The overlapping creates such a dramatic kind of a 3D effect with the strong lights here and then the super darks. I love that contrast. Contrast is one of my favorite things. Okay, bring that down so you can see it a little better. Okay, but we're getting there on this one here. Sometimes I have too many thoughts going through my head and they all try to come out at once. So I'm really kind of liking that we're going into that area. I don't normally, but it definitely gives a neat effect. And then we want to make sure that our values are dark enough. So another layer is always good. Night Owl says you're enjoying this one as well. Cool. Nice to see how I use both burners and the tips. Yeah, it's just kind of a fun adventure that we're having here. Yeah, that Night Owl peacock, Night Owl. The peacock project will definitely be a longer one as well. So I'm thinking that after we finish the peacock project, we will be ready for a beginner one again. Oh gosh, it's Friday the 1st. Speaking of beginner live streams, we have a beginner-based live stream this Monday here in just a couple days. So the first Monday of each month, I do a complete beginner project, because sometimes we get into these more advanced projects and they take several weeks to complete. And I don't want the beginners to get left behind. So every month they get their own new little project. And then if you are a member over at Mighty Networks, our Bear Den, then you have access to the big library of beginner patterns there as well. And the beginner tier is $10 a month. That's like, can't even eat drive-through for $10 anymore, it seems like. So if you're interested in upping your woodburning game, or you're just wanting some cool new projects to try, definitely take a look at the Bear Den, our online artists community. Terry is asking if I'm going to create the peacock project with both burners. Probably not. This is kind of a special project that we're doing here. Although something that I could do if I do use both burners on the peacock project, I will probably, instead of burning it half and half like this, I will probably utilize the best aspects of each burner, which might be kind of fun to show you guys the how you can maximize both of them. So I would say for anything more detailed and those fine details, I like the Versa-Tool, but if I really need to expedite and make some areas darker more quickly, I can use the Razertip. So that is a good idea. Night Owl is asking, will I use colors on the peacock? I think that would be really pretty to add colors to that one. This one would be really pretty with color as well. And probably when I'm all done with this, I will try to make that seam go away and make it more completed. Okay. So there's our flower. I really like actually going over that little tidbit there. That turned out pretty cool. Oh, Mina, she's got the whole goodies there in the chat. So the link to Mighty Networks is there. That's our Bear Den community. The perks are exclusive monthly discounts, free project patterns, comprehensive video library, engage with the community, live stream access, polls, guidance from me, members only gallery, and video resources. So yeah, tons of goodies there. Thank you, Mina. Alrighty, so let's see. We need to get down into here. We've spent an hour on the flowers. It's time to start some fur. Alrighty, so let's zoom back down in here. to where everybody can see. Whee! Maybe back just a smidge. Okay. Thank you, Mina, for outlining all the perks there that are on our paid community. And I know that you know, money is tight for a lot of people, but having the support of the online community, the paid community, is huge for me. It helps cover bills and make sure that I can share this time with you as well, some free time. It's huge. It's so helpful. So I really appreciate everybody that is over there and all of your support. And I can't do this without you. So thank you. Alrighty, let's get going here. We're going to start with the Versa-Tool side. The Razertip is off, so I don't catch the house on fire. Alright. Talking about chins, a lot of times as beginners we have a hard time getting animals to look three-dimensional, and a lot of times that's because we don't have enough contrast in the nose and jaw area. So we have to remember that your darks are going to push back and that your lights are going to pull forward. So to create the illusion that the chin is jutting out, think of it like a three-dimensional object, we need to add shading behind it here, and that will push this chest area back, which automatically makes it look like the chin is pushing forward, if that helps, if that makes sense. And we are going to do some really light outlining around our plants here. Let's give us a nice little buffer zone. Terry says you could always get a Coalwood Super Probe too and see how you like it. That is a thought as well. I don't have a Coalwood burner. Hi there. Hello, Just Josie. Welcome. Thank you so much. Vivian, you see the kitty and you want to just go adopt one. Oh, I do too. We already have 4. We don't need any more kitties right now. I want more kitties. So, Barbara, you love your Coalwood. Awesome. Yep, I may have to just take a look at those. All right, so up in here with the top part of the face, we were focusing a lot on more individual hair strokes because that part of the cat was in focus. This lower part down here is a little bit out of focus, so we're going to have a much softer overall appearance and shading. It's not going to be seeing each and every little individual hair, and we'll kind of blend it, the transition here, so it looks natural from lots of tiny individual hairs to more just random, not really random, but it's a word, softer shading in there. Thanks, Barbara. Yeah, this kitty reminds me of our little twin kitties. They're both little tabby cats. And we're going to add some more layers. Layers are king when it comes to wood burning. Lots of layers. But you'll see here in a bit how burning around the chin will start to make it look like the chin and muzzle is coming forward. But I just do a lot of little back and forth strokes to create the illusion of the fur. Okay, I also like to focus on sketching in some of the darker areas first. This helps me to get the direction of the fur kind of laid out so that I don't have fur going someplace that it shouldn't. This helps to get everything kind of in line. We're just burning around our flowers. The farther down we go, the softer and more out of focus the fur is. So you don't have to worry too much about getting this area super perfect. It's supposed to be blurry. And anytime that I start working in these zones, I want to keep those edges really irregular so that then I can kind of blend them together. Because whenever you're working with fur, if you start marching across the wood like this with fur, and then you want to do another layer right next to it, it's not going to look natural. It's almost like having two fists butted up against each other. You need, think of it more like fingers, to where you can have the fingers kind of blend together. So instead of consistent blocks of fur, I want bits that are longer, I want bits that are shorter, and I want a very irregular edge to the fur, kind of like that. That way, when I add another layer of fur or burn more fur next to it, then I can tie it together more seamlessly like this. Do you need in? Are you outside all alone? So whenever you burn fur and you think about these different zones, don't butt them up together. You want them to fit together like this. Yes, even with stripes and fur as well, because these edges here, you can see, are also going to be, you can see here, they're also very irregular. You don't want to outline stripes. You want them to have that nice jagged edge. The jagged edge in the dark stripes is going to be darker, and then it'll blend into the lighter areas. I hope that makes sense. But think of it like this and not like that. I'll be right back. I'm going to let the dog in. Hang on. What are you doing out here? Natty girl, are you thirsty? Okay. Alrighty. She's thirsty. Right. Okay. She's very thirsty. So now you can see that just the fingers, you can call them fingers if you want, of the fur and how they're very irregular. Then I will go back over and add more shading, and then it'll blend together nicely. Okay, and then we have a little bit of little V shapes. You'll see a lot of upside down V shapes in fur. So we can put a few of those in here and there. My, you were a thirsty dog. So you really see a lot of the stroke marks right now. That's because we just have the one layer of fur in there. As we continue to add more layers of fur, it should blend out a bit more. Okay, so that's kind of my first initial rough sketch. Now I'm going to go back over and darken up some areas. I love hitting those dark areas first. Because the contrast is, I think, just very beautiful. So if anybody has any questions, definitely let me know. I'd be happy to help answer anything. Burned over the whisker. Yeah, I did. I am going to scratch those out later. I'm not going to worry about burning around them now. You can burn around them. It just takes a long time. So I will do the quick method and scratch those in later. So we're bringing some of our dark values up, blending it into the face here. This stripe needs to be a little bit darker. So here's a great example, Night Owl, of this dark stripe right here. Just because it is a stripe and it's dark, it still has these irregular kind of finger edges to it. And then since I darkened that up, now we need to kind of blend it into its surroundings and pull that shading outward. This is not the best angle, but we'll try to make it work here. So coming back down here, building up the darker values a little more. Now the line under this chin, that is definitely going to be a soft edge. I don't want to have an outline like I do like right here around the flowers. That edge needs to be nice and soft and fluffy. So I don't want to come in here and draw an outline underneath that. We are just going to create that separation between the neck and the chin with value. So we're just going to make a difference in darkness and light, with really soft edges here. Okay, and we'll do a little bit more darkening up over here. You can see already as we're burning around the flowers are starting to kind of pull forward, and this other area here is definitely pushing backwards. That is one of my favorite things with wood burning, is just that nice push and pull in there. Alrighty, we're just about there going around this flower, and then I will blend that together. Okay. So now I'm going to just softly kind of blend these two zones together here. We have a dark zone here and a dark zone there, and then we'll just blend them together a little bit. Okay, so we have a couple layers in the dark shaded area, and then we have one layer of kind of blending it together. I think we need another layer of blending, and just pull the darkness into the light a little more, make it smoother, and the same thing up here. Kind of soften that transition there. That's looking better. Okay. So I think we might actually have a little bit too much of the first strokes in there. So I'm going to rock the point down a little and try to smooth this out and soften it up just a touch more, because I want it to be nice and blurry. Or you could even say softer. The fur needs to look much softer. Clean up this edge along the flower a little bit. That's looking better. Definitely softer and more fluffy. And then I think we need a little bit smoother transition in here as well. So I'm going to work here for a few more minutes on this side, and then we'll jump over to fill in some of the Razertip. Okay, kitty whiskers. So this area right in here is very rounded, so you can see we have some shading all along the edges. And that's what we are going to put in next. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit in there. And then we have some of the little dark spots where the whiskers come out of. We can put some first strokes in there as well. Now, just because this area is very light, very white, doesn't mean that it shouldn't have multiple layers. We definitely want multiple layers in here. We just got to treat it very gently and try not to get any of our marks quite too dark. And this, you might find that some of the edges here are not dark enough, and so you can touch those up and make them a little darker as well. Okay, that's just one layer, and let's go ahead and darken this up a little bit, and then we definitely need another layer in there. Anytime you're burning white fur, it can be a little bit intimidating. It's like, golly, I know it's white, I don't want to burn in there, but you just need to remember that just because something is white doesn't mean there's no values other than white in there. You're going to see some other lighter mid-tones and some mid-tones hiding in there. So here's another layer around the outer edge there. And then up in here, this needs a little more too. Okay, so now we're starting to get a little bit more of a rounded nature in the mouth there. Okay, now for the chin. We have a lot of different hair directions here, so we'll sketch those in lightly first and kind of expand on that and make another layer. Night Owl says, you burn less with the white fur, but it feels more challenging. I agree. Yeah, you definitely have to control your temperature and just be more cautious with the whiter areas. Okay, so for right now, it seems to me like once we get the chin shaded in here, we're going to need to push this area right in here darker to push it farther back. Otherwise, it's going to look like Kitty doesn't have much of a chin. But I'm going to spend about 5 more minutes with the Versa-Tool, and then we'll switch burners and we'll work on the other side. So add more layering. Now our values between the neck and the chin are getting just a little bit too similar. So going back in and darkening up the shadows will help create more definition. Push the neck back, pop that chin forward, and create the illusion of depth that we're after. So this is where layering, once again, is just a fantastic way to utilize wood burning, because you'll put in a value and you'll think, oh, that's plenty dark enough. And then you realize, no, actually it's not. And so you got to go back over and just darken it up a little more. But if you go in and you put in something really dark really quickly, then it's hard to fix that. Yeah, so I would definitely take your time and build up your values with layering and caution, especially if you're trying to achieve more of a realistic end result. here. I think we need to darken up a little bit more in the mouth here. And then we'll kind of blend it into the upper lip, just a smidge. Okay. Okay, so that is a pretty good start on that. Yeah, all this stuff needs more down here, but and let's blend a little more here and clean up this edge. And then pull the darkness into the fur. Cool. Okay. Alrighty. So let's zoom out and kind of take a bird's eye view here as far as what we have. Hold on, guys. Focus. Okay, cool. So if we kind of like, here, hide that part. All right, so now we're getting that nice illusion. The neck is pushing back, the chin is pulling forward, and we're getting a little bit of roundedness in the mouth. I do see that I need to add a little bit more in here, some of those dark little dots, but overall a pretty good start to the lower part here. I really like the flowers. The flowers are turning out lovely. Okay, we'll zoom in here and start working on that second part with the Razertip. And focused. Okay, cool. So any questions at this point? All right, we're going to continue working with the spoon shader at, let's check a level 6. Give it just a minute to warm up. That's probably pretty good. Okay. So we're going to approach this in a similar way here. Maybe you guys want to see a little bit more of that. Okay. So I'm going to start again right where the chin meets the neck. Putting in some really mild. It kind of radiates our pattern. We can still put in just a little bit less hot right now because I think it's going to give a much softer fur appearance. See, you're getting buffering. Dang. No buffering, not allowed. guys, I'm not sure. Now it's very blurry. It must be the internet. So it looks like my camera and everything is still doing okay. You're good? Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. You might try refreshing. Hello. All good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's a nice light sketch of our fur pattern, and next we can go in and start building up some more values, some more layers. Make sure we're soft around that jaw. And I might turn it up to like a 7. Seven is working pretty good for right now. Trying not to burn the flower. Aw, thanks, Terry. It's kind of, see, and then it goes really dark. It's kind of crazy here. This is a chunky monkey right here. Blend that up into the heavily textured area there. Thanks, Mina. One of my biggest challenges right now is to not burn the flowers. We'll have to clean up those edges. Thanks, Vivian. Clean up the flower edges here a little bit later, but I think so far so good. Doing okay, not too much carbon. Thanks, Neto. Okay, so this fur is looking pretty flat right now. So if you've ever made really flat fur that doesn't have depth or dimension, it's just too similar of a value. So to help combat that, I'm going to make it darker here along the edges, and then I'm also going to make it darker up underneath the chin. Just add another layer and blend it in. So that's looking a little bit better. It's starting to push backwards under the chin area. And if you don't want this blurry appearance, like it is in the picture, just go ahead and start, you know, try to replicate the first strokes with more crispness, and that would work too. And this whole thing needs to be just a bit darker in here. Hey. Okay. Whew. Let's try to clean up the edges here of the flowers. That was too dark. Alright, now I have to blend it in. Darn spoon shader anyway. I think it's actually operator error here. Nothing wrong with the spoon shader, other than he's a little chunky. Okay. Alrighty. So let's pull some of this fur down, just a smidge. Okay. I want to go over there, but I'm not supposed to. Gotta stay on my side of the line here. My burner, I think, is a little bit toasty to do what I'm doing there for much blending, but I'm going to try it. Let's see, I want to pull this down a little bit more. Still, I'm thinking that we might have, I don't know, maybe too much first strokes, but I guess we'll make that assessment here in a bit. I'm going to turn this down a little bit more to like a 5.5, I think. And we are going to try to get in here next. 5.5 is not quite enough. Let's try almost 6. That works pretty good. So we have these nice little radiating chin fluff lines here. They kind of come together in the center and then they radiate outwards, which is pretty fun. Kind of hard to get the right balance, I think, of soft blended and rocking the point up and getting more of a furry stroke. But I think that's just me because I'm not as comfortable with this burner. If all I used was this, then I think I'd figure it out better. Okay, we're going to soften the chin a little bit. Blend, blend, blend. I'm going to really enjoy putting those whiskers in. That's going to be fun. All right, so we're blending here along the side, trying to get a nice, soft first stroke. All right, I think I'm going to switch points. This guy is just a little bit too chunky for what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to switch to the, oh, there we are. Switch to the small round shader modified. Now, anytime I switch to a new point, even though I'm on a level 6, it wasn't very warm. The last one, it's way too hot for this one. So let's go to like a level 4. Yeah, we'll start with a level 4. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, that's better. We'll get these whiskers put in here. So, Monday live stream, a beginner project. What is everybody in the mood for? Guys are free to throw out some ideas and we'll see what we can find. And then I'll get a poll set up for everybody, the members over on the Bear Den, and you guys get to vote on our next project. Let's throw out some ideas. Terry, I have no idea what that is. A mourning dove, says night owl. Those are pretty. I'll have to look that one up, Terry. Barbara says a pig. Oh, that would be fun too. Oh, it's an insect. Oh, okay, right. That is ringing a bell now. Also, if you guys want to do, like, well, I'm not sure that would be a very beginner project, but I was going to say a texture. If you want to do a texture, we could try that. Or if that's going to be too complicated for a beginner, then we can do just a subject, like a pig or an insect or a mourning dove. A leather bag. Ooh, okay. Terry, I don't know that. Stop it. Alrighty. So adding more first strokes in here. Okay. So we have several different ideas in there. What else, guys? I will try to get some options together for you. Oh, a mandala. That sounds good too, Mina. Yeah, that's right. Woodburning University has lots of mandalas. Okay, let's see. Looks like he needs to shave. I think we need some more layers of fur in here. Maybe a little softer. Some soft shading instead of fur strokes. I think that would be probably the best thing for this right now. So I'm going to rock the point down and just do kind of some soft shading instead of fur strokes. I think that's helping. Terry says a cowboy hat leaning against some cowboy boots. Ooh, that sounds fun too. I really like burning leather. I think it's a lot of fun. like burning the illusion of leather, not burning on leather. Thank you, Mina, for the notes. So we need a little bit more shading along the edges here. A wool plaid bag. Wow, Terry, that would be pretty complicated. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks. Or a wool plaid blanket. That would be amazing, yeah. Night owl, yeah, boots with spurs, those are always fun. Saddle and tack, yep. Barbara, you're going to do a portrait of Dave wearing his cowboy hat and range coat. Oh, that'll be really nice. So yeah, I definitely get more kind of random burn marks here and there, I think, working with the Versa-Tool. Okay, so let's kind of take a step back here and see what we have going on and assess. Zoom out. I think, okay, focus. He looks a little funny without the white whiskers, and I can probably scratch those in right now. The next thing that I think that this needs is, we're kind of lacking the muzzle. There's something going on with the muzzle here. I think it's because the surrounding areas of fur, this darker areas up here across the nose and around the cheeks, are not dark enough. So what I would recommend doing is going back over and burning the fur area up here. Again, it's too light. And sometimes you don't know that it's too light until you get all of your other values in place. So that will help to push the face back. The nose looks a little bit flat as well. I need to darken up either edge of the nose in here, and that will make it look more rounded. So this is a good start on this project, but it's a long ways from being done in my book. So lots more fur layers. That will give me more room to create more depth here in the mouth. The chin, everything down here just needs to be smoothed out and blended. It's not too bad, but just some of my values are off. They're not quite done yet. So, question is, it will take me, I would say, probably 2 more sessions to get this project done to where I think it needs to be. Do you want me to do that on the Friday live streams, or do you want to move on to the steampunk peacock project? And then I could perhaps do just an impromptu live stream to finish this one up. I would say I'm about 4 hours away from having this one where I would like it. So think about that. Alrighty, so now I am scratching in just above the lines that we made. Let me zoom in here just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here with the whiskers. Okay, so we put in some dark burn marks for the whiskers. Now I'm going to sit on top of these whiskers with my awl and burn on top of it. I don't want to burn the line that we sorry, I don't want to scratch out the line that we burned because that makes nice, like a little shadow underneath there. So I'm going to scratch out just above there, that area. Okay, let's see. Just reviewing here. Vivian says a mini donkey. That'd be cute. Night Owl wants me to finish the spoons. Hi, Donald. You want me to finish the cat? Terry says the cat. Michael, the cat. Kendale is asking how long I've been burning. I started in 2009, so I've been burning just kind of off and on for about 16 years. And just kind of taught myself along the way. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to use the tools, and so I just kind of made up my own way to use the tools. And a lot of people were like, that's not what that tip's for. But I found that it worked really well for me, so I didn't know any better, and it worked, so that's what I did. Let's see. Barbara, I know that the peacock will take a lot of time, but you want to see the cat finished as well. Okay. Vivian also wants to see the cat. All right, so we will continue working on the cat next week then. And that's totally fine, whatever you guys want to do. And I think that the reworking of a wood burning is where the magic really happens. So even though we have a pretty good start on this, the reworking is going to make this a completely different project. It's going to really finish it out and make it look the way we're supposed to look. It looks kind of like he's like got a little monkey mouth right now. So a little bit of adjustment of values would be really good. Let's see. Night Owl, how long have I been burning? Seriously. I don't burn a whole lot. Let me think here. When I first started in 2009, I was working from home as a newspaper publisher. A lot of graphic arts kind of stuff, and I would put newspapers together. And I always had a love for art. I've been exploring all kinds of art my entire life. My dad is a professional oil painting artist, so I grew up around art. I went to high school art classes and explored different mediums, and just kind of kept playing around with art. And then I stumbled upon wood burning by accident, trying to do some wood carving. I'm horrible at wood carving, but I thought if I burned over it might look better. It didn't, but I immediately fell in love with the possibility of wood burning. And so that was in 2009, and I don't know, I make a handful of projects every year. I burn more with you guys than pretty much anything else. Sometimes I only burn on the live streams here of late. I've been really busy trying to get Woodburning University up off the ground. So I don't think I burn as much now as I did, 10 years ago. So off and on. I just have so much going on with, I homeschooled the kids, and we moved a whole lot. So anyway, thanks. Yeah, I do have a lot of pieces there. Donald is asking, how hard are you scratching the wood? I'm being very careful. I want to scratch the wood I'm doing layers, because if you just start scratching the wood really hard, the wood grain is going to take over and your line is going to be really uneven. So if you want a nice rounded whisker like that, it can get really jaggedy, so if you press down really hard. But if you do a light sketch first and then you go back over it. The more you gouge over it, the deeper it gets and you're more likely to stay in that track. I hope that helps. But if you just press down hard and then try to go over it again, it may or may not stay in that track. So I would say take your time. Also, I'm holding the point kind of flat. If you hold it straight up and down, it really goes crazy. It's not a very even line if you hold it straight up and down. So rock it back just a little bit like you would use a pencil and just put that in there carefully. So, great questions. Barbara says, you would love to see the kitty's eyes in color. Are you going to add color to this one? This one screams color to me, with the flowers and then the potential for the colored eyes. Yes, I think it should have color for sure. We can also put in a couple of little whisker things, the eyebrow whiskers up in here if you want. So, okay, well, I will put together some options for our Monday beginner live stream, and my lovely supporters over on Mighty Networks in our Bear Den, you guys will get to choose our next project out of a couple of those options. And then Friday we'll be back here, same time, same place, working on reworking this cat and trying to definitely get that muzzle better. Alrighty, thanks again for being here, guys. If you have any questions, look me up on woodburninguniversity.com, and here in the description has all my links and contact stuff as well. Alrighty. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you on Monday.